You've done it again. You're standing directly in front of someone you've met at least 3 times, maybe 4. And their name is just gone, not even hovering at the tip of your tongue, just completely, cleanly absent, like it was never filed anywhere in the first place. And the worst part isn't even the forgetting. It's the next 12 seconds of pure, improvised theater you're about to perform. Suddenly angling your body, desperately hoping someone else in the room says their name first. Or that their phone rings, or that the building catches fire. We've all been there, sure. But the people who do this most frequently, who chronically, consistently forget names, are not careless or rude, and they are almost certainly not as unintelligent as they've been silently led to believe. There's actually something very specific happening in their brains. And once you understand it, you'll never feel guilty about it the same way again. So let's start with when you meet someone new. Your brain is doing an enormous amount of work simultaneously. Reading their face, registering tone, and figuring out context. Calculating where you stand socially, and whether this person likes you, or whether you even like them. Thinking about what you're supposed to say next. Your working memory, the short-term holding space in your prefrontal cortex, is essentially juggling 6 things at once. And into that exact moment of cognitive chaos, someone hands you a single arbitrary sound, their name. Hi, I'm Kevin. 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 Okay, Kevin doesn't mean anything. It doesn't connect to anything you already know. It doesn't trigger a concept, an image, a feeling, or an association. It just sits there, isolated, in a brain that is frankly too busy to babysit it. Psychologists actually have a name for why this happens. In 1987, researchers McWeeny and Ellis published a fascinating study demonstrating what's now called the Baker/Baker paradox. They told one group of participants that a person in a photo was a baker by profession, and told a separate group that the same person's surname was Baker. Days later, the people who learned the occupation remembered it far more easily than the people who learned it as a name. Same word, completely different retention. Because the word baker as a job activates a whole web of associations. Flour, bread, early morning's warmth. As a name, it activates nothing. It floats there, rootless. Names, by their very nature, are semantically empty. And your brain, efficient machine that it is, preferentially holds on to things that mean something. You probably remember the smell of the flowers, the specific silence in the room. Who ended up crying the most? A sentence someone said that resonated with you, deep in your chest. You do not remember what was written on the order of service. Because your brain made a decision, without consulting you about what mattered. And it was not the printed text. It was never the printed text. Names are the order of service. Everything else about a person is the funeral. Now, where it might get a little uncomfortable because it's more personal than most people want to admit. A significant portion of chronic name forgetters are people who are extremely in their own heads. During social interactions, though in an anxious way rather than an arrogant one. While the other person is introducing themselves, these people are internally narrating. Am I making enough eye contact? Is this handshake too firm? Did I just interrupt them? The name enters briefly, and then the internal monologue bulldozes straight over it. This is actually documented. There's a phenomenon called the next in line effect. First documented in 1973 by psychologists Malcolm Branner, where people waiting to speak in a group, anticipating their own turn, showed dramatically reduced memory. Or what the person directly before them said, because in their head, they'd already moved on. Already preparing the next thing to say. They're editing themselves in real time. And people who live with social anxiety, or even just a hyperactive self-awareness, are essentially stuck in that mode permanently, never quite here, always half a step into what comes next. Which means, the moment a name is actually offered to them, they're already somewhere else. If that's you, here's the reframe. You don't have a memory problem. You have a preoccupation problem. Those are very different things. There's also something worth saying about the people on the other end of this. The people whose names get forgotten, because the emotional sting of it is genuinely real. And it would be unjust to pretend otherwise. Having your name forgotten, especially repeatedly, lands like a small but pointed message. You didn't matter enough to stick. That's how it feels, even if it's completely wrong. That's what the brain hears. And the brain doesn't always take the rational approach. And if you enjoy content like this, consider subscribing and turning on the notification bell so you don't miss future uploads.